Inside of the game, we have a red Terran representing Kai Z Gamers. It is time. The one and the very best of the Chinese region, of course. Not from the Chinese region, though, the Korean region, this Blue Protoss. He is from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. He is Zest. Guess if you never met these players before, that would have been a bit confusing, me moving the camera too soon. But yeah, time. The very best player from China. One of the few players really on the top edge of pro scene from China, in all honesty. Had some other almost successes now and again, but that's been a while ago, and usually when those Chinese players tend to kind of get themselves up in the ranking there, really start to show and, you know, get everyone's hopes up, suddenly they tend to disappear. But time has been around for a very long time. But yeah, it's nice to see. Sticking with the game he likes, making it work, doing pretty well for himself. Of course, someone like Zest still going to be a challenge. Is the sound okay? It looks okay, right? I think it is. I think it is. Cybercore first from Zest, then afterwards that Nexus, as both of them going for the expansion reactor as the first thing for time as well. So he's going to have himself a couple of Marines here ready to defend against that Zealot. No Reaper though, however. So it's going to be a little bit in the dark when it comes to scouting. And oh, wasn't quite paying attention there for a second. Just going to have to do some fancy Marine micro here. Going to have to split those two up. He's going to actually pull a couple of SCVs. Alright, that works. Takes a bit of damage here and there, but nothing, well, nothing game ending just quite yet. That Stalker may have something to say about it. A bit of a misfire there, unfortunately not on the lower HP Marine, but he's whittling them away, making each Marine less and less useful after each volley of the Stalker. He's going to go a little bit further on the high ground there, it looks like, with the two Reapers. He's going to try to go for it. Actually, pretty good micro there with the Marines, pulling back the low HP ones. Reapers with the Hellion, a bit easier to track down a Stalker. Another Stalker comes in though. One Reaper does get taken out. Time has secured the area up until this this little high ground edge over here. So it's going to be able to, well, force Zest backwards with at least the Stalkers. The role of aggression is being taken over by that Oracle, which kind of shows why every bit of damage on those Marines was so important. So now we have, well, we do have 6 Marines, 2 more coming in. They're kind of low HP, so he really doesn't have the opportunity to defend 2 locations at once. Even if he does commit with all the Marines to the Oracle here, you've got to be careful that they're all stuck together pretty well. Otherwise, they might still get picked off by that Oracle. 3 SCVs being killed. It's not too shabby. It's pretty nice. I wouldn't be too upset about that. Forge as well as Blink. Next step for Zest. So far only on the triple gateway, which is actually an alright amount of gateways when going up to 3 base. Should be able to do at least a little bit of poking with those Stalkers. He's got another one over here. Let's take a look at the base of Time. He's managed to get himself 2 siege tanks operational already. He's got himself an SCV over here as well, looking for a starport. Okay. And that starport's in a bit of a precarious situation. Could be targeted down quite quickly by the Blink Stalkers. But then again, another siege tank being prepped. It's going to put Zest in a bit of a thinking position. May not want to commit to this one. Sees both of the siege tanks after all, so that's a big tell. Time still unaware of the Stalker presence. But may have his suspicions. Only seeing still 1 Oracle. Kind of shows that Zest went for a different way to approach this afterwards. And that's a lot of gateways. Definitely a style we're seeing become more and more popular. Had a bit of success in the GSL as well, if I'm not mistaken, with Creator at the helm. Oh, well, being very careful. And we're going up to 5 siege tanks right now. 5 siege tanks in total. Is he going to bring all of those across the map? That would be quite something. I don't think the siege tank army, well, maybe with the Marines here, they're going to have a rough time against this mass wave of zealots. They're pretty useful against these big siege tank pushes. Especially if you manage to get a couple of set up. Running in from the other side, right? Coming in with two angles with those... ooh, the Oracle. Ah, that's a bit of a shame. Zest losing quite a valuable unit right there. The SCV is going to start being pulled as well. And Time will be arriving at this 3rd base way before Storm has been completed. So it does come down to the Stalkers and the Zealots. Couple of sentries here as well. The Force Fields might be able to delay something, but Time realizing the presence of those sentries, and it's just going to start taking out the rocks. Zest buying himself more and more time. He really would like to have that Storm operational before the battle really starts. But I don't think Time is going to let him. As he starts moving forwards, those Zealots will need to consider their options here pretty quickly. They're still just standing still. Starting to get shot, but he is still trying to buy himself some more time. Storm about to finish up with, well, there we go. Now is ready, and that is the first initial Storm. Not really landing quite that spectacularly. And second Storm on top of the siege tanks. Still a good deal of Marines here, but not too many anymore to really provide a dangerous threat. And yeah, GG is called. Zest manages to hold on to that base until the Storm is completed. And together with the Zealots and the Stalkers, this kind of cleans up. We see once again going for a pretty safe opening. No scouts from Zest this time around though. Just gonna stick to his own base. Maybe not really anticipating his opponents here to attempt any proxies. Time not really known for his one base aggression, I suppose. You do see him occasionally go for the proxy racks though. It's not unthinkable. So still a little bit brave from Zest here to just kind of go for things blindly. To be fair, he still went Cybercore before Nexus, so I mean there's a very small amount of things that can go horribly bad in that situation. Zest estimating correctly that it's not going to be happening here. Gets 2 Marines as well with his initial Stalker. Kind of a nice little maneuver there, running up onto the high ground rather than trying to micro backwards, right? Smart bit of play there from Zest. Takes a bit more hull damage, but at the same time guarantees the 2 kills from those Marines. Time went for more Reapers. Well, A little bit quicker this time around, as Hellion is here as well. Just the two Stalkers having a bit of a... how would you call it? Deja vu. Did he show his warping structure here? No, he didn't. He does have a pretty good warping location. He's got himself 3 gateways, and he's starting to get himself blink here. It's a good start, going pretty wild pretty quickly, as there is no safety bunker. Marines are dying left, right, and center. So far already, 4 of them have been taken out, together with the Reaper and the Hellion, and 2 SCVs for the price of 1 Stalker. That is fantastic trading so far for Zest. That is now allowing him to pretty much bully time out of his own natural base. You have to come up with a plan B to still get some efficiency going for this match here. Widowmine being taken out quite easily as well here. Single Zealot being sacrificed. Losing a Stalker as well. This could be a little bit rough, Zest. Being the most careful we've ever seen someone be with his units. Starting to lose a probe or 2. That is where that damage will end, though, as 2 Stalkers warped in back at home to defend against a single Reaper. Now, is Time going to be secure enough in his natural base with the Cyclone and the newly replenished Marine count? He's got himself a siege tank here as well, so I think he should be. Then again, it would still make me feel a lot safer for him if he does still throw down a bunker at some point in time. Oh dear, that is an aggressive blink forward from those Stalkers. I love that he moved back with the majority of his Stalkers, just leaving 2 of them, which was enough to shoot down the siege tank. So, very quick thinking and kind of analyzing that situation. But he still lost quite a couple of Stalkers there. That bio perhaps killing 1 or 2 extra that Zest was not anticipating. But at least he got the siege tank, and that could give him quite a swing of momentum here as soon as that War Prism finishes up. Because now, we only have the single siege tank. Another one is about to be ready, sure, but I mean, 2 siege tanks is just so much significantly worse than the 3 siege tanks. Because with the 3 siege tanks, you can kind of have this line that protects most of your main base, most of your natural, while you have a siege tank in the middle, kind of covering both of them, right? So if Stalkers do just brazenly jump in, then, you know, you still have a siege tank shooting them. Not going to be the case right now. Oh, Time starting to move out. That could be trouble for him. And again, you're gonna have to rid the front porch of Protoss at some point in time. 3rd base for Zest being taken. 3rd base for Time, starting up construction over here as well. I think I like this from Time. I don't think you should try to move out any further for the time being. Especially with the gateway army of the Protoss here. It's, you know, it really just kind of wants the Terran to push out on these timings. Nice War Prism harassment, getting 5 SCVs in total, even getting a little marauder as they are escaping once again into the War Prism. Time figuring out, okay, there is his 3rd base established. Doesn't appear to be something that's been around the block for a very long time, though. Really digging the observing that we're seeing from Zest as well, or at least the kind of attention to detail he's putting into everything. He's got himself the not just the observer on top of the Terran army, but then also a little bit of a surround of pylons and units, just in case he misses something with that observer. Medevacs flying out and all the sorts, right? Shutting down the potential, well, a potential comeback mechanic here full time, right? A good medevac drop would really put him back in the works. Could force a lot of these Protoss units to move backwards, and that, you know, make it a bit easier again for him to start claiming his third base. Now, it's still going to claim it right here. And I don't think Zest will have much to say about it. Seeing the siege tanks here, the bio forces are just a little bit too strong without the added benefits of splash damage. Just quite. That is coming along. Warp Prism once again into the main, or sorry, the natural base this time. Not getting much done. Couple of Immortals as well. It's a pretty solid choice for the army composition that he's up against. Look at the amount of Marauders there are. And that combined with the willingness to make siege tanks as well. Seems like a pretty good unit for Zest to get. Then again, we are getting ourselves the ghosts also involved. Quite readily available will be those ghosts. That's got to be feeling pretty good. Single scouting marine here. Not seeing any expansion on that side. It's going to check the other side as well for a fourth base. Time just kind of wants to know what is happening there. Ooh, Warp Prism coming in with beautiful storms there. Not going to be EMP'd clearly. Oh, quite yet. As now, well, the gateway force is probably strong enough together with those siege tanks. Well, sorry, the siege tank killing Immortals. That's what was going on in my mind. And, well, I guess Protoss still kind of here. Not with a lot of units, but enough units to stop Time from having a third base, as that will be enough for Time to reconsider his luck in this one. It's going to tap out. Alright. 2 points gathered up so far for this red Protoss. In the top left side, he is Dragon Phoenix Gamers. Zest. Has to start mounting a bit of a comeback here, otherwise this series might end in a not too far distant future. The Blue Terran from KZ Gamers. It is time. If he loses this one as well, that is just going to be... I'm going to say Zest wins this series then, right? Pretty much guarantee. It's already favored for him, obviously, after 2 victories. But if he gets another one, that puts him on match points. So suddenly Time will be in a position where he's not allowed to lose a single game anymore. And well, if the other 2 games have anything to say about that, it seems like that is something a little bit difficult for him right now. Time is doing a lot of like 2 base timing pushes, 3 base timing pushes, pulling the SCVs as well. Are usually pretty good strategies, but I just don't see it work all that well against the heavy gateway armies, right? The previous game, we didn't really see a push from Time, to be fair. That was mostly game number 1. Game number 2, well... Let's be honest here, guys. That was kind of coming down to no safety bunker being created, and then, well, the Stalkers just getting a lot of value here. The Zealot will be running across the map as the Reaper suddenly realizes, you know what, perhaps there will be a Zealot here, so he's moving back. Wants to start dealing with that bad boy. Oh, ooh, gets the SCV. Oh, there's the Stalker. I was thinking to myself, man, it's taking a long time for that Stalker to build, huh? And that was the second Stalker. Also being chrono boosted. There's now 2 Stalkers are across the map. Still delaying this command center here. Still no SCV. Now finally a new SCV arrives. We'll be able to kind of claim that area again. As we, well, once again see kind of a bit of a struggle here for Mr. Time. Just to keep that Reaper alive. Ooh, that was... Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, that is brutal. Well, Widowmine should put an end to the overall aggression. Now, let's take a look at what was lost in total. And to be fair, that is looking a lot better for Time than it did the previous round. Then again, I mean... that delay on the second command center did seem quite potent. Oracle realizing 4 Marines should be able to just barely take. No, that was a miscalculation. 2 of them were low HP, but couldn't quite target the correct one there. May have been able to do it, especially if those Marines kept walking for just a little bit longer, right, without shooting back. That could have been a great way to, well, just almost win the game, but instead, he loses the Oracle. That's a big deal now for Timus. Opens him up for a bit of aggression here. Right, those Marines no longer necessary at home, can send them across. He's got himself a Widowmine here as well. Let's see if he gets anything done. The Widowmine in an awkward position overall. Ooh, we're getting a little bit of stutters here all of a sudden. Also then I am comfortable with, very much so. What is happening? Why? Nothing changed for me. What is this? This is extreme. I hope they're gonna pass the game if this keeps going like this. What in the what? This is massive. What? How is this possible? How is this possible? Must be something happening, but there's nothing happening. What? What? This is the worst I've ever seen it. Is there something doing a lot of stuff? Performance. No. I'm gonna pause this game before.
Game paused. Game resumed.
Okay, we're gonna give it a go again. It seems to have lessons overall. But that is terrifying. That is a terrifying amount of lag to happen all of a sudden. And that does not make me feel comfortable whatsoever. It makes me feel very uncomfortable. Alright, well, anyway. Moving things along. It does seem to be, you know, equaling out a little bit here. Luckily for us. Unfortunately for us, I haven't changed anything, so... who knows, it could just come back any second now. Let's hope it doesn't. We've done 2 games without any problems whatsoever, nor a single lag spike, so I suppose this should still be good. Alright, well anyway, looking at this game, we're having another big old push from Time. There is no third base just quite yet available for him, so who knows if the SCVs are going to get pulled once again. That being said, 7 gateways are about to finish up together with the charge as well as the +1 attack. Could be pretty bad here overall. Oracle on the back side of things does keep the revelations flowing. Now the shield battery overcharge, a little bit too quick for Zest perhaps, is only going to be here for a little short bit of the fight. But it doesn't appear to matter too much. That siege tank is going to go down and, well, I mean, there's still a good amount of bio here. If it was just those Stalkers, maybe they would have had a shot. But of course, another whopping of Zealots is not that far away. Time realizes that is the facts at hand. Starting to take that third base. No SCVs being pulled. Moving things along. little bit of a wrap around there with the Zealots on the other flank. Looking for, well, any reinforcements. But they're going to be late now to the overall fight as the rest of the bio here already collapsing onto the, the Stalkers as well as those Zealots here. Zealots finally arrive for the flanking maneuver. But the bio for time is just going to rotate around to the right side now. Seeing how he cleared through the other chunk of gateway forces. Maybe he could stop producing medeffects for a little bit here. He's up to 9 now. That's about as much as you would like with, you know, 200 supply. He's got to be careful there. I mean, that is a bit, but, you know, I don't want to say confusing, but definitely something you got to keep in mind. Sure, the army supplies are looking pretty close, but if, you know, 60% or 70% of the army supply of Terran is in medevacs, then it's not great. It's not great for them, alright? They tend not to shoot as much, those medevacs. Zealot run around into the natural, thus cause the entirety of the army of time to move backwards. And that's going to cause Zest to start chasing with the Stalkers. So, really trying to find whatever he can. He's not trading more efficiently, but he did get that third base a lot earlier than his opponents. That being said, we're still not seeing a great deal of splash damage coming out of Zest. Starting up the Robo right now and still just mostly relying on Blink Stalkers and Zealots for the time being. It makes me wonder how he wants to approach this. Does he want to wait for the Terran to push into his Zealots? Is that what he wants to do? Or does he want to try to run around with the Zealots as soon as the Terran starts chasing those Stalkers? Zest here on the quick pull away. Those probes not going to get targeted or lose all of them. Stalker, oh, nice blink. Still gets a probe, but that's okay. That's okay. Main army fight now. Suddenly the Zealots coming in from the backside. The army of time out of position here. As Zest is just going to make a full commitment into this main base. He wants to get as much damage dealt as quickly as possible here. Look at those force fields. That is incredibly unfortunate. For time with his entire bio just was sitting there waiting around. A lot more sentry energy available as well. So this is going to be a rough one overall for him to manage. His natural base already gone. The sentry with full energy needs to be careful here for that Liberator. Alright, does manage to wiggle its way through. And now he's going to be able to put up quite a couple of force fields over here as well. More SCVs go down. The entirety of the bio now into the medevacs needs to make something happen here as quickly as possible. Cannot allow this army to just make a clean getaway here. He needs to kill it, and he needs to get some damage done on the other side of the map right now, because he just lost 2 command centers. He's lost his armor upgrade. He's lost most of the SCVs, as well as a lot of supply depots. So even though he still has about 500 minerals in the bank, he's struggling to spend it, as he is quite heavily supply blocked. So this is the army he's got right now. He needs to make it happen. As Zest already here with that Stalker group once again at the forefront of things. Zealots once again starting the march around. May just want to consider hitting up this third base, as that third base, I mean, if that's gone, nothing else really matters anymore. Then again, if you hit up these the production facilities, it's going to be the same thing. Zest will still have to hold on, at least for, well, I want to say 2 bases. Potentially even just 1 base will be fine. And he should be able to win this. This third base doesn't really matter too much for him losing this one right now. The natural base, this is kind of where he would like to have his stand be sufficient enough. He's starting to whittle away this bioforce to a point where it's just unrecognizable anymore. GG is called once again. Zest is he's doing a good job today, isn't he? He really, really is. Well, 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 this man right here in the top right side has got himself 3 victories so far. The Dragon Phoenix Gamers man, it is Zest. In the bottom left side, that blue Terran really would like his fortune to start shifting into his favor. Kaisi Gamers, it is time. We know he can beat Zest. On a good day, he is gonna beat Zest. But is this gonna turn into a good day for him? I don't know. Really doesn't look like one so far. Checking with the probe. Doesn't want to get engineering bay blocked here or have a proxy rack somewhere behind his thingamajigs. Proxy rack still, or sorry. The blocking NG bay still going to be thrown down into this mineral field here, so still a little bit rough. Zest already going for that zealot though, regardless of seeing it or not. Which is kind of fun to see, really, because that zealot, right? If you make it, it's great against the engineering bay block. It's nice if you are getting proxy rexed, and well, Zest is kind of showing that even if nothing of that sort is happening, you can still kind of make some stuff happen with that zealot. He just runs it across the map, starts up a couple of Starkers behind it a little bit quicker with the chrono, and then, well, all of a sudden, we saw what happened in game number 2. He definitely manages to get a good couple of trades now and again. Just set himself up so, well, terrifyingly well in a way, up against his opponents. Okay, proxy starport. Gonna be trying to combine that with a couple of aliens here. I like to see it myself. Always been a big advocate for the Hellion harassment in the early game versus Protoss. I think it's one of the better things you can do. Of course, if you do it every single game, it's not gonna work anymore, but man, it's very rare not getting any kills with it, right? It's pretty rare not getting any pretty reasonable trading with it overall. Especially if you bring it in like this. It's gonna hit incredibly early on. About as early on as you could get it, right? Because he even went for the factory before the command center. So this is incredibly early on for these Hellions. Look at that. Blink only halfway done as the medevac is already flying into the main base pretty much. The Stalkers so far apart, as we can see. Clearly not a single thought in Zest's head about these Hellions potentially coming in right now. As already, that is some solid damage right there. 8 probes, only gonna get worse. Could simply try to pick up as well, though the medevac is being targeted down quite nicely. That's going to leave these Hellions going uncontested for a lot longer, though. As now suddenly we go from having, how many would that be? That would be, well, 36 right now instead of 20. Almost half of all the probes getting slain. Full Zest. That is terrifying. Safety bunker. Very, very good choice. Maybe one of the things that could still nip him in the behind here. You know, make things a difficult match if he does get pressured by those Stalkers and he trades out inefficiently against this earlier Blink play. Seeing how he did go for that very aggressive Hellion option, he doesn't have that much as at home. But with the bunker and the siege tank, I imagine he's going to have enough here. Already gets one volley onto the Stalkers, kills off one of them. That's fantastic. Siege tank trying to get a little bit closer. A couple of SCVs already being picked up. Zest may just... Okay, well, jumps forwards on top of the siege tank. Bit of a Hail Mary, but he knew he had to make it work right then and there, as he just took too much damage. GG is called. Time does not go down undefeated. Sorry, or... No defeating. It doesn't go down, no defeating. Time, of course, would be called tijd in Dutch. Tijd. Which sounds like tight. Or tide. But then, just barely isn't either of them. Sounds like you're mispronouncing one of those words, but then it's apparently just a Dutch word. That's usually how most Dutch words work. Tijd. Okay, no SCV coming across the map this time around. Another thing that has been wondering, right? Because if you do go for the engineering bay block, that would make Zest either delay his own expansion, which would cause him to, you know, maybe invest into his Stargate a little bit earlier or something else, right? And that could make it a lot more difficult for the Hellions to be successful. But if what happens, what we just saw happening right there, Zest goes for the third base location for his Nexus, then suddenly you do have a lot more area for those Stalkers to be covering, right? Especially before they have that blink upgrade, which is the timing window that you're hitting. Not only that, but on a map like that, if Zest does take the base over here, you always have the possibility when there's Stalkers over here, and like, alright, let's just load up, drop over here, get the probes away from this location. Stalkers have to walk around all the way, right? I know it's not this map that we just played on, but it's pretty similar. That bit of map layout is usually pretty similar. You can catch my drift. This is some wild micro going on here. Stalker arrives. We'll put an end to the nonsense. Unlucky for the Reaper. That's that head on out of there. SCV coming across the map here. It's an interesting little fella. Not sure what the plan was there. Was that send over to try and deal with the Zealot in the smoke? I think so, as he's sending it back right now. That would have been pretty crazy if he would have gotten it that way. I guess it's back up there again. Reaper Scout checking whether or not he would get shot. Doesn't get shot, so he's willing to jump up the second ramp. Doesn't see too much information here though, and had a bit of a rough time with it. Stalker shoots away that Hellion. Doesn't manage to stop the probe from getting a third base, but it does get a bit of a scout on that probe, so intentions of Zest becoming a bit more clear for time. Although, again, right, Zest is a player that kind of likes to do the same, similar type of strategy. Right? He always kind of, well, he does diverge the pathways taken enough where it becomes difficult to just kind of blind counter it. You know, sometimes you get the Stalkers a little bit earlier, sometimes he gets the Stargate still involved, sometimes he doesn't. Little tiny things like that. Keep your opponent guessing. Did he not see the medevac? I don't think he did. The Stalkers are going away. The medevac is still here. This could be trouble. This could be trouble. Back at home, there is a safety bunker. One siege tank available as well. It's the Stalkers going up into the main base. No combat shields, no Stimpak just yet. Stimpak actually quite far removed from being done. These Stalkers have a good opportunity here with a good bit of micro. This could go quite nicely into Zest's favor with the Zealot in the front, tanking the damage. The War Prism very quickly taken out, though. And that is quite abysmal there for Zest. Definitely not what you want to have happen in this situation. And as this is going on as well, the Widow Mine suddenly in the main base. At least one of them. Let's take a look. Ooh, that is 8 probes still. Stalkers jumping out of that area. To come back up again. I have to wait a little bit since the War Prism got taken out. Well, Siege Tank on the top side is going to get a volley here, but okay, Zest does get out with those Stalkers. Medevac still available for potential harassment, but well, never mind. No longer the case. So where does that put us on the scale of units lost? Zest looking pretty sharp once again. Did lose those probes on the other side as well, but definitely trading out more favorably on the overall scale. A lot more army units being slain for time after all. Even with that War Prism going down as quickly as it did. Imagine if it didn't and Zest had the opportunity to keep warping in units there. Terrifying. Alright, gotta be careful with 2 siege tanks on top of each other. Going to be 3 siege tanks pretty soon. Stimpack has finished up, as well as the +1 attack. Combat shields and concussive shell. Now up for grabs, and as soon as those kind of get close to finishing, we may see time starting to head out. Nice pickup on that Marauder, keeping it alive. Stalkers are going to have to, well, head back home. Still no combat shields on those Marines. Still a pretty nice opportunity for the Stalkers to shoot down quite a few of those. But prioritizing the Marauders as well as siege tanks here, it looks like. War Prism for Zest into the main base right now. Nothing over here except for... No, actually there's 3 Marauders. A couple of force fields buying more time for Zest. Ooh, takes a couple of big shots though onto his Stalkers. A little bit too far forward. Zealots in the main base get 6 SCVs. War Prism will try to get himself out of there. Now the siege tank set up. Once again, look at that. All the sentries gone and obliterated instantaneously. Zest doesn't want to make the commitment, but he is just being battered right now by those siege tanks. They are target firing quite nicely here. Now finally being picked off as, yeah, there is just not enough fort time to really break through. Even with those fantastic siege tank shots to open things up with, just wasn't enough. The thick layer of gateway is just a bit too heavy for time to really dismantle at this moment. It's going to potentially lose a couple more units here. That Widow Mine does manage to survive. So it trades only for 1 Marine, 1 Stalker. Little empowerment there. War Prism in the natural base. 3 SCVs. 3rd base for time. There it goes. Okay, we'll start heading on over towards that 3rd base location. But it's been a while. Might be able to see on the income advantage here. Quite heavily favoring Zest for the moment. Still got himself a solid worker lead, as well as the, well, Zest got the army lead. He's got himself Psionic Storm as well, putting himself ahead on the attack tree, as the Ghost Academy not even halfway done yet. Alright, this could be the final blow, guys. This could be where Zest wins the entire series here. Already finding a good bit of damage there. Kills off a Medevac. Starting to shoot down the Widow Mine, and something that is not going to save time in this situation here. Great Storm on the top side. Another one joins in. Has 2 more available, but it doesn't even seem necessary. So the rest of the bio units just are nowhere to be seen anymore. Disintegrated, and GG is called. Zest makes it a quick day overall with some fantastic gateway pushes. Finding himself a lot of victories here. And only one loss there due to the quick Hellion harassment, which was a very well orchestrated build from time. But not enough for him to really make this series a close one.